Internet, and welcome. It's been a while, it's been a week, but we are here with a project of sorts, needle nose pliers. It's gonna be fun. No, we don't put it in our nose, that hurts. Actually, we're building a computer. I don't think the only thing we've built in this channel is Legos, and I think we have another Lego build coming up. I have Legos underneath the couch right now, but we're gonna build a computer. We're building a mini ITX build. It could be called Micro ITX, but I'm pretty sure it's called Mini ITX. And the idea is to build a supercomputer. No, not really super. Like $100 computer inside a box that kind of looks like an Apple Mac, and we're gonna put it all in here, and we're gonna have fun when we do it, and we're gonna tell jokes, and we're gonna talk about life and theories and things, and we're gonna have a good time. So let's just go over what we have actually first. We'll get over the parts, and then I'll change the camera angle because you don't want to look at this mug the entire time. We actually have to find out how we do it. So we'll go over the parts right now. First thing on our list is the BitPhoenix Prodigy computer case. It is a mini ITX case. It comes with a quick installation guide, so we can be quick about doing this. Actually, no, we're going to take my time because whenever we approach the motherboard and CPU, I start to panic like I'm going to fry things. So, we have the BitPhoenix case. The dimensions are... like 14 by 12 by 15, and I am getting a text message from my girlfriend. She's breaking up with me. Okay, so I believe the case size is 12 by 15 by 14. I actually was not checking during that cut. As you saw, it was a jump cut. It was something else. I have music for you. Play them a song, Sheila. We came, we built a computer, we have fun, thank you for watching my channel, I love you, and cut. I'm just here actually with my girlfriend, Kara. Kara, can you say hi? You can't hear her because she's timid. She's watching the build as well. She's really angry sometimes. She's watching the build as well. So she is a ukulele player, so she played us the ukulele. So we may have more music as the show continues. So anyway, thank you, honey. She's giving me the middle finger. It's funny. So let's continue with the build. Okay, so the first thing we have here, we went over the BitPhoenix case. The next thing we have is an electrostatic shocker. What you do is you take someone you don't like, you hook this up to their testicles, and then you shock them. That's not how this works. This is actually to prevent static shock from occurring, because as you know, static shock will kill electronics. It will destroy, massacre, Holocaust 2.0 all of electronics. Normally there is, at any given time, a bit of electricity going through the air. As you touch things, it's very small, so it does not damage components. This is to stop it from, like, you know, when you get like a 200-volt accidental shock when you're, like, I don't know, rubbing someone's hair and you... And I've done it before. It's fun. It's really fun. And what we have here is the prevention to that. So inside the case, there's a couple of components. We'll go over that when we go into the case and I turn the camera around, but we're just going over the actual components right now. So the build is going to consist of 2 hard drives. Well, 1 hard drive, 1 solid-state drive. This is an Intel 120GB solid-state drive. It's the 510 series. This was actually an older computer that I took out, so there is Windows 7 on here, as well as drivers for different motherboards. So I have to reformat this first, but we're going to put it in. Next is a 640GB Western Digital hard drive. I believe it should be, yes, it is SATA 3.0. So, which means it can go up to 6 gigabits per second, as opposed to SATA 2, which is only 2 gigabits per second. I know, enlightening, it's amazing, it's technology, it's faster technology time. So what that essentially means is, if I want data now, I can have it now, instead of if I want to wait a couple seconds. So, newer stuff, it's faster, it works out better. The processor we're going with is the Intel i7-3770K. It's pretty much the baby of everything. It's an Ivy Bridge, 4 cores, 8 threads. I believe it's clocked at 3.5 gigahertz, if I'm correct. Yes, 3.5 gigahertz, 8 megabyte cache, LGA 1155 is the type. So that's good. It's probably the best 4-core processor you're going to find. It is the best 4-core processor you're going to find. So we did not slack on that. We slacked elsewhere. Our motherboard is an Asus P8H77. It's a cheaper motherboard, but I want something that would fit because it's a mini ITX build. It has pretty much the bare bones of what you need. USB 3.0, 1 PCI Express slot 3.0. Essentially, just pretty much the bare minimum of what we need. RAM, Vengeance, Corsair, 8 gigabytes, 2 4 gigabyte sticks, 1600. A older GTX 580 that I had in my original build of a computer, so GTX 580 by PNY. I got this I think 2.5 years ago, and it still runs fine, although by today's standards you can probably play it maybe in 1080p. I mean, come on, computer things are just going way too fast for me to keep up with. So we have that. A 620 watt power supply. The only thing people were going to chastise me is like, Shield, why'd you get such a low power supply? The power supply was cheap. I think it was around 65 bucks. So it's a pretty cheap power supply. It is modular, which means it's half modular. Modular means you can plug in the parts that you want to plug in. So say, for example, you only need like 2 SATA cables, running throughout your computer, and you want to keep the clutter down. You don't have to plug in as many as you need, so you can keep what you want inside the computer. So that's nice. So it's a cheap one, and it's going to power the 580 fine. It'll probably power 680 if I ever want to upgrade it, but by the time I want to upgrade to 580, I'd go for like a 780, so I would just change the power supply as well. So this is perfect for what we need, because I don't believe I'm going to change the video card for a while. I really didn't go over why I'm building this. For one, I wanted, I guess, what you'd call a frag box. Just a small computer that doesn't make a lot of noise, that I can just kind of move around the room, maybe bring it upstairs, bring it to a friend's house, anything I can do. Currently, I have a beast of a computer. When you turn it on, you're like, that's the sound of it. World War II planes probably made less noise than that computer, so it's a bit of a pain in the ass. This is nice. I'm going to try to keep the fans to around 4, maybe 5. I think we're probably going to stay around 4 fans. That computer, which you've seen probably in the past, 13 fans. Unnecessary. But everything stays cool. And then as well, what we're going for, we do have a couple of the fans. We're going for a blue and red to match the white. I don't know how that matches, but it's going to kind of go for like a Star Wars Rebel feel. The decal didn't come. I got a giant Rebel Star Wars decal logo that we're going to slap right in the... Oh god, that was loud. That we're going to slap right in the front or on the side, and we're going to build a nice, clean computer. Ultimately, we're just going for sleek, streamlined. It's going to be nice. But those are the basic parts, as well as screwdrivers. Obviously, you need that. Different bit heads. Tweezers in case you want to pick your nose while you're doing things. And that is pretty much it. A couple of SATA cables that I have left over, and I believe there are 2 inside the box. So if you are following me, or if you're doing a build along, or if you're just checking out different computer parts, the P8H77i motherboard has 2 SATA cables as well. They're both in the box. And as well, different components, screws and whatnot for the actual case. Now the thing about this case is, that I liked, and I'll turn the camera around for a second, they have a lot of detachable drives, so you can kind of make as much room as you want. The only downside of this case is it is kind of small. So when you want to put a power supply in there, you are limited. So the power supply cage is small, but we'll go over that in a second. Well, let's turn it around. Okay, so we are a different perspective. We went over most of the parts. Here I am again. These are my hands. Look, it's a cool wrist strap. I feel like I'm going to like Adventure World. We're gonna go do things. It's like very cool. It's like... okay, what we have here, we'll make some room a little bit. I don't have a lot of working space. It's a coffee table I'm essentially working on. Again, with this thing, you want to attach this to metal to ground yourself. That's the idea behind this. It's a 6-foot cable. I think it was like $3 or $4. I didn't use one in previous builds. I was just kind of like, static electricity. What's the worst that can happen? And I realized death could happen to your computer parts. I knew that going in. I was always just careful of it, not to like... rub my feet on the carpet before I start touching components. But the idea behind it is it's simple, and it gives you a lot of room, so why not just use it as I try and untangle myself? So, rather not take the risk, because that would be awkward as I boot on the computer and it doesn't work. Jill, you really suck at another thing. You can't even build a computer right. We are going to follow the installation guidelines as we go along with it, just because it's going to make life easier. For the most part, I know what I'm doing, alright? I got... Oh, the one thing we did forget with the CPU, I forgot to go over. I think we're here. Arctic Silver Paste. It's pasty. Don't drink this or eat it, you'll die. It's allowed to better connectivity between the CPU and the heatsink. Oh, that's another thing I didn't go over. Crap! I forgot more stuff. Okay, this is Asus optical drive. Doesn't matter if it's Asus. It's a 5.25-inch optical drive. Pretty much CDs, DVDs. It's not Blu-ray. It's pretty much standard. The next one we have is the heatsink as well, because we're not going to go stock. You could go stock, but we're not. Cooler Master Hyper 1212. It should fit in here. You have a lot of leeway when it comes to the case, but we'll show that inside in a second. Okay, so let's make some room real quick, and then we can begin. I feel like I'm a pirate a little bit. I don't know why, but of all things, I kind of feel piratey today. Maybe because I want to watch Pirates of the Caribbean. Maybe it's like kind of seeping into my brain. I don't know. I just feel like Orlando Bloom is a very attractive man, and I'd want to be Orlando Bloom if I could be Orlando Bloom. I mean, who wouldn't want to be Orlando Bloom? I'd want to be Johnny Depp. I like Johnny Depp. I think he's cute. I didn't say that. He sucked in Rango. I watched Rango. Rango was an interesting movie. So let's turn this around over here. Now we have it as an upper angle. This is essentially how you'd work on a computer if it was not like this. If it wasn't a mini ITX computer, this is how you work on a computer. The motherboard goes back there, so you keep it, level. You want to keep it horizontal to how you're working, not vertical. So this is how you work on it. Fortunately, for the ITX build... Oh, God, that's how I could have electrocuted myself. Fortunately or unfortunately for us, we're not going to be working on it like that simply because... And I'm just undoing this thing again. Give me a second. Simply because for this build, and I'll lower the camera as we get down there, as you can see over here, well, let me just move this. We'll attach that right over here. This is where the motherboard rests. So the idea is different. The motherboard's actually going to rest horizontal, parallel to the bottom of the case, as opposed to perpendicular. So it's going to run parallel to the bottom of the case. It's going to sit over here, and the video card's going to run perpendicular to go out the side right over here. So it's interesting. I've never seen it done like this before, but I'm assuming just for the simple fact that a lot of these smaller cases, the video cards are going to be like this, as opposed to like this, so they need to have the motherboard run like this. I know I said this and that a lot, but just bear with me. The one thing we are going to do next, since we're focusing on the case, we're going to begin to take the side panels off, the front panel and the side panel off, and we're going to begin to open this up so we can work around it a bit better. Inside the case, we do have two fans. There's a 120mm fan over here and another 120mm fan over here. We're going to keep this 120. We're going to get rid of this 120. We did buy a 200, a Mega Flow. I know. Oh, you could see me. So we're going to put the Mega Flow in there. And the idea is to have, it's going to be bigger the fan. Usually the more solid it is, it's not going to move as much air. It will move as much air over a larger surface area, but it's not going to be as strong. Oh, that was falling. So it's not going to be as powerful. So it's not going to cool as efficiently, but it's going to be quiet, and hopefully it'll lower the temperatures. And that's all we really want from an intake fan right here. And two exhaust fans up there. Alright, bad boy. Let's open you up. Let's read the manual. I love manuals. Sometimes I read manuals for fun. That's boring. No, don't read manuals for fun. Alright, so